It started with silence, the kind that didn't feel empty, but heavy. The kind that pressed against the walls and hummed in your ears. Ethan woke up that morning to find his housemate Ryan gone. The kettle was still warm, one cup half filled, and the front door slightly open. At first, Ethan assumed Ryan had gone for a smoke, but hours passed, and his phone remained untouched on the counter. That's when Ethan saw it, a crumpled piece of paper on the kitchen floor, soaked with something dark, blood. It wasn't fresh, but sticky and smeared, forming words that barely made sense. Don't look for me. At first, Ethan thought it was a prank. Ryan loved horror films. He'd even done fake blood effects for short videos. But this didn't feel staged. The trail of smeared handprints on the wall led from the kitchen to Ryan's locked bedroom. Ethan called his name again and again, but the only response was the low hum of the refrigerator and the faint tapping of a leaking pipe. The air inside felt dense, humid, as if someone had just been breathing heavily in there moments ago. By evening, Ethan couldn't ignore the smell anymore. Not foul, just metallic, sharp. He followed it to the window where Ryan's curtain was half drawn. Outside, the rain was coming down hard, and something glistened on the glass. Small, dried streaks of red on the inside. When Ethan finally unlocked Ryan's room using a screwdriver, the first thing he noticed was the mirror. It was covered with writing, backward, scribbled, almost carved into the glass. Words he couldn't read until he stepped closer. The reflection twisted them into legibility. It said, "It's not him." The bed was neatly made, the closet empty, the floor spotless except for a single wet footprint, bare, pointing toward the door. That night, Ethan tried to sleep, but the apartment didn't feel right. Every time he closed his eyes, he could hear faint movement in the hallway, a dragging sound, slow, hesitant. When he checked, the corridor was empty, except for one thing, the bloody note, now stuck to his own door. But the words had changed. They now read, "Don't let him in." Ethan froze. His phone buzzed on the table, Ryan's name on the screen. The call lasted 2 seconds. Only static came through, followed by a low, wet whisper. "You opened the door." The lights flickered, and for a brief moment, Ethan saw it. The shape of someone standing just behind him, in the reflection of the TV screen. When the police arrived 2 days later, the apartment was untouched. The TV was still on, the kettle cold. They found only one thing out of place. 2 cups on the table, both half filled, but one of them had blood at the rim. No one ever found Ryan or Ethan. But neighbors still say they hear the kettle whistle every night, just before the power flickers out, and a quiet knock echoes from inside apartment 12B.